Hi, this is DigitalCT Editor Rich Sampson, and welcome to our Emerging Leaders edition of DigitalCT Magazine. We think this is a very interesting opportunity for us to share some of the details of our new Emerging Leaders Academy, which just kicked off at Expo 2017 in Detroit and will be a year-long effort that wraps up next year at Expo 2018 in Pittsburgh. And what this program does is brought together nearly 20 emerging transportation leaders from around the country at organizations and agencies of different sizes that are prepared to kind of assume the mantle of responsibility for their organizations going forward. And this program, this course, connects them with the experience and knowledge of leaders from our industry that were there from the beginning, the first generation of community transportation leaders, and who are committed themselves to ensuring their legacies at their agencies and their personal work continues for folks who are just now coming into the business or rising up at their organizations. So this edition of the magazine is a compendium to that process, a way for a group of the folks involved in the content of the Academy to share their thoughts on their careers and the philosophy of the Emerging Leaders Academy, not only with those participating in the Academy itself, but with our larger membership and affiliates of transportation and mobility advocates around the country. Of course, before we start with any of that, we have some updates in the magazine on what's going on here in Washington from a policy and legislative standpoint. The recent FTA bus capital announcement, what's going on the House appropriations process, and then a bit of an update on healthcare legislation going on in the Senate. So we encourage you to check that out, as well as what we recently submitted after listening to our members on regulatory reform and kind of the next step in that process moving forward. So we invite you to look at those updates on what's going on from a federal and policy perspective here in Washington. After that, we provide some background on kind of the philosophical genesis for the Emerging Leaders Academy. We provide some thoughts on what we were thinking from CTAA staff and board of directors in creating the program, as well as from Michael Knoll and Barbara Gannon, who are the co-lead instructors for the program. They share their philosophical underpinnings and conceptual basis for the Academy. So we encourage you to take a look at that. That starts off the edition on the Leadership Academy. And then we profile each of our mentors. We have a team of 4 mentors that have been in the community and public transportation business for more than a century combined. All 4 of them have made multiple stops along their way and come from a variety of backgrounds. A couple of them started off in the military, one started off in the private sector, another more so in the research side of things, but all found their way to transit systems in rural areas and large cities and specialized providers. And they share their thoughts on what makes up leadership qualities and tendencies at organizations like those who are CTAA members and those organizations that have sent their emerging leaders to the Academy. Here's some recurring themes amongst these profiles, things like outreach to the community, not being afraid to learn from your peers, trusting your employees, and that isn't just a set of policies and procedures, but ways to garner their input and really show your recognition for the contributions they're making to your work, ways to communicate with the public and your customers as well as elected officials, and a host of numerous other strategies. They all talk about the value of riding along on the system early on to kind of get to the nuts and bolts of how it works. A lot of these folks ended up taking maintenance classes to learn just what their mechanics and drivers were facing on the vehicles. So we found this to be a very interesting and actually rewarding way to look at and spend some time learning about the experiences of our mentors and those involved with the Emerging Leaders Academy. And this series is going to continue with the second part of this edition, this series on emerging leaders, where we'll profile the folks who are actually taking the course as emerging leaders themselves and kind of get their experience as someone who is coming new to our business and what they've learned along the way in the course of the Academy. So you can look for that edition coming out next spring before Expo 2018 in Pittsburgh. So thank you to everybody who's been involved in putting the Leadership Academy together and who's participated in it so far. And we're always looking for your input on how we can make this program and anything else we do here at CTAA a little better. So please contact me at sampson@ctaa.org, or you can contact Scott Bogren either through his Twitter handle, CTAEXECDIR on Twitter, or shoot him an email at bogren@ctaa.org. We and all the staff here would always love to hear your input on things that we should be doing or things that you're concerned about at your agencies. So until next time, this is CTAA Digital CT Editor Rich Sampson signing off.